Safaria is not being good. Okay, so since we've taken several weeks off and we're going to take at least next week off, I thought rather than trying to catch ourselves up on Talmud and then having to do it all over again, what we could do is a Rashi Sicha.
Let's do it. But also, you have to say why we're not going to be on next week to give a shout out.
Well, Donnie's going to a meeting of Christians, and I'm going to a wedding. I'm going to
prop up Midwestuary. You have to get people to.
Do you want? I mean, if you insist.
Midwestuary 2025, August 22nd through the 24th in Elmhurst, Illinois. A weekend you won't want to miss with special guests Cale Zeldin, Paul Vanderklay, Rod Dreer, Elizabeth Oldfield, John Vervaeke, and Jonathan Pajot. Midwestuary 2025, the Fellowship of the Spirit. Stay tuned for more details. Visit us at midwestuary.com for ongoing updates.
There we go.
And there's a special event on Friday night. Donnie is going to make Kiddush for everyone so that they see what Kiddush is actually like.
Did I tell you what happened at Evolve Move Play? I didn't tell you this. I went in Seattle to Evolve Move Play at the Rafe Kelly's event, and at one of the bonfires, I sang Yedid Nefesh for everybody. So that was quite
one of my favorites. Yedid Nefesh. Okay. Yeah. If we're going to get through this Rashi Sicha, we should get through this Rashi Sicha.
Let's do it.
Okay. So the Rebbe's famous Rashi Sichas, Rashi is the main commentary on basically everything that Orthodox Jews study. First, a 5-year-old child is supposed to start with Chumash Rashi, right? And so Chumash Rashi is the 5 books of Moses with the commentary of Rashi. So in Deuteronomy 34, on the last few lines of the Torah, it says, "V'lo kam navi od be'Yisrael k'Moshe asher yeda'o Hashem panim el panim." There was no other prophet in Israel like Moses that God knew face to face. L'chol ha'otot v'hamoftim asher shelacho Hashem la'asot be'eretz Mitzrayim l'Faro l'chol avadav l'chol arzo. In all the signs and wonders that God sent him to do in the land of Egypt to Pharaoh and all of his servants and all of his land, ulachol hayad hahazaka ulachol hamora hagadol asher asa Moshe le'enei kol Israel, and with the great hand and great terror, they translate, great awe, which Moses did le'enei kol Israel. So these are the last 3 words of the Torah, le'enei kol Israel, in the sight, in the eyes of all of Israel. And Rashi has one comment here. Why is Rashi not showing up? Because this is being, hold on, Safaria is not.
You want me to share my screen?
I got it. Okay. So Rashi says on 34:10, Asher yada'o Hashem panim el panim. Source with translation. Okay. Shahaya libo gas bo medaber elav b'chol et sherotze ka'inyan shene'amar v'ata ale el Hashem imdu ve'eshma'a ma yitzaveh lachem. So that knew God face to face, he says that God would speak to him whenever Moses wanted, as these 2 verses indicate. ולכל היד החזקה שקיבל את התורה בלוחות בידיו, right? And with the great hand, that is the fact that God gave him the tablets of the 10 Commandments in his hand. ולכל המורה הגדול, ניסים וגבורות שבמדבר הגדול הנורא, right? These are the great and mighty deeds that were during the 40 years in the desert. Le'enei kol Yisrael, and this is what the Rebbe is going to be focusing on, in the eyes of Israel, shenesa'o libo lishbor haluchot, that his heart made him rise up, inspired him to break the tablets, in front of them. Like it says in Deuteronomy 9, that I will break them in your sight. And God's opinion was in agreement with Moses' opinion, asher shibarta, like it says in Shemot is Exodus, 34, that you have broken, yishar kochacha sheshibarta. You did a wonderful thing, Yashar Koyach.
What an amazing way to end the Torah. What an amazing way. It's incredible.
It is. Now we are going to talk about the Rebbe's Sicha. Now,
wow,
there are some 300 different super commentaries on Rashi, and studying Rashi is a very normal thing for an Orthodox Jew to do. And the idea that somebody has a new question or a new perush on Rashi is actually an incredible feat. But what happened was that the Rebbe spent many weeks where he gave new interpretations, asked new questions, and gave new interpretations, all of which I have found absolutely amazing. And this is one of the astounding feats of Torah that the Rebbe did. So his Rashi Sichot are considered some of his greatest achievements. And this is my favorite one. I've gone through it several times. And wow. The key to a Rashi Sicha is to actually listen and hear the questions that the Rebbe asks and to truly feel them, because before you hear the answer, you start asking, "No, how could this be?"
Right.
And then the Rebbe answers, and once you've read the answer, the questions just they disappear. So if you don't pay attention to the question before you read the answer, you're absolutely going to get lost. Okay?
But I have to think before we start looking at it, I have to think that he's going to talk about Rashi did not. Where does Rashi know that when we're talking about the Moshe's great feats that he that's specifically what he's referring to, the fact that he broke the luchos, right? He must address that, because where did Rashi get that from, right?
But not only where did Rashi get that from, but apparently Kalanimus read the full Sicha. This is an adaptation, the full Sicha in Yiddish, where the Rebbe talks about Messiah and the Tov, right? It is the talks about the Rambam, and the Rambam says that we always end with good things, right? So whenever you study Torah, you study a Masachet in the in the Talmud, we always finish off with something good. It's a halacha. So how is it that the Torah ends with talking about breaking the luchot?
Crazy.
And how is it that Rashi says that the whole thing, Le'enei Kol Yisrael, is that he decided to break the luchot in front of of Israel, right?
Yeah, crazy.
Okay.
Because he could have chose innumerable other things in Moshe's life. Didn't need to choose that.
Including what was in the other verses, right? He
Exactly.
like and frankly, the pshat of the verse, right? What's the pshat of the verse? It says, "Ulachol ha'otot va'amoftim asher shalach ulachol hayad ha'chazaka," right? "Ulachol ha'morah ha'gadol asher asa Moshe le'inei kol Yisrael." Everything that Moshe did in front of the Jews, specifically, you're talking about Shvirat HaLuchot, breaking the tablets.
Right. Yeah.
That's that.
You could have talked about the plagues in Egypt, right? Like, there's so many other things that you could point to that seem to be more appropriate.
Yeah. Okay. So go to the Sicha. And let me put the link into the chat in case anybody wants to follow along. This was said in Simchat Torah, Lamed Hey, I believe it is, 5735. And I think that's like in 1970, something like that. Okay. Al hapasuk ulachol hayad chazaka v'gomer. Right? So on this verse that we just read in Deuteronomy, right? Asher asa Moshe le'inei kol Yisrael, which Moses did in front of all of Israel. Siyuma v'chotma shel parshat bracha v'shel kol haTorah, which is the end and the seal of both parshat Zot HaBracha and all of the Torah. Mefarish Rashi hatevot le'inei kol Yisrael. He explains before the eyes of all Israel. Shenesa'ol libo lishbor haluchot le'ineihem. Shneimar v'shabram le'inechem v'haskima da'at hakadosh baruch hu leda'ato. Shneimar asher shibarta yasher kochcha asher shibarta. Like we just read.
Yeah.
V'hamakor lefaresh she. Le'inei kol Yisrael koi al shvirat haluchot, and the source on this idea that le'inei kol Yisrael goes on shvirat haluchot, to the breaking of the tablets. Hu besifri al hapasuk, right? In the sifri on this verse it says v'zeh lo shono shivrei luchot ne'emar. This is talking about the pieces of the tablet. The ashabram le'inechem, like it says, I will break them in before your eyes. V'kan hu omer asher asa Moshe le'inei kol Yisrael, right? So the Sifri says this, and Rashi is bringing the Sifri. Ulachora tamua, and at first this is a strange thing. Pirush le'eino al derech hapshat klal, right? Rashi says, I have come just to explain the pshat of the Mikra. He says this several times in his commentary on Chumash, right? That he's just explaining the simple thing, and this is something from the Sifri. It's a midrash. This isn't what the pshat seems to be like. שהרי הכתובים כאן מדברים בשבחו של משה וגודל מעלותיו, right? Because these are the verses in which there's Moses is being eulogized, his greatness, right? And his great degree. Perish Rashi al haketuvim kan, right? So the other ones, he's talking about how great Moses is. Asher yada'o Hashem panim el panim, shaya libo gasbo, medaber elav b'chol et sherotzeh, right? So that he knew God face to face, that God, he would speak to God whenever he wanted. Ulechol hayad hachazaka shekibel et haTorah beluchot beyadav, right? And that he, like we just read, ulechol hamorah hagadol nisim u'rosh shebamidbar hagadol v'hanora ve'ech mat'im שלאחרי מעלות גדולות ונפלאות אלו, right? That after all of these great things that we said about Moses, יסיים הכתוב לעיני כל ישראל, right? That in front of all Israel, שנשא ליבו לשבור הלוחות בעיניהם, that he broke the tablets in front of them. You hear the question?
Yeah, it's also interesting. I'm just noticing, just a side point, is that like nasu libo literally means like to raise your heart, and he actively threw something down as his heart was raised. Just an interesting contrast. Yeah. But his point about that Rashi speaks on pshat and this sifra is not really pshat. I don't know if I hear that question so much. I hear his question more on the sifri themselves, like why would, meaning like why is that? I mean, I guess maybe that actually I understand his point more, because if the sifri is saying just sort of like a hekish between saying the word I is Yisrael, that would be, I guess, not really pshat, right?
Yeah, it's a nice word block. Okay, so Rashi has to go all the way into the Sifri to bring like how is this pshat? Right.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I understand what you're saying now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Rashi.
Rashi Pirsha la Torah Loba Ela Mikra. No, we read that. No, we didn't read that. Okay. So since Rashi only comes for the Pshat, Haven Lafaresh Bekama Pashtane Hamikra. He should have explained it the way that most of the other or many of the other commenters of on Chumash say, "Sheleinei kol Yisrael eino inyan bifnei atzmo," right? That it's not talking about something new and different from the things that it talked about before. Ela ba behemshech lahayad hachazaka v'hamora hagadol shenasa naasu leinei kol Yisrael, right? Just okay. We just talked about these nice things that he did. These great things he received the tablets. He did all of these miracles, right? Why do you have to suddenly go off into the Shvirat HaLichot?
Yeah.
Right? Mefarshe Rashi Katvu, and now he's talking about the super commentaries on Rashi, right?
I never heard that expression, super commentaries. I never heard that before.
The fact is, most people, I almost always hear super commentaries about Rashi, because Rashi is a commentary on and so Tosfot is sometimes referred to as a super commentary on the Talmud, right? It's a commentary on a commentary on the Talmud.
Okay, got it.
Okay, Mefarshe Rashi Katvu. שמטעם זה מוסיף רש"י ממקור אחר בחז"ל, right? That this is the reason why Rashi is bringing something extra from Chazal. והסכימה דעת הקדוש ברוך הוא לדעתו שנאמר אשר שיברת ישר כוחך ששיברת, right? That Rashi is adding, right, at the end, that God agreed with him and said, you did a good thing, right? So they're kind of teaching it to make it a little bit nicer, right? That at least it's a shevach, right? That sure. God agreed with him.
Sure, but doesn't explain why he makes the shevach. Right. Got it.
להדגיש דעים היות ששבירת הלוחות מצד עצמו אין העניין של מעלה, that even though the breaking of the luchot itself isn't actually a praise of Moses, right? מכל מקום יש בזה משום שבח בנוגע למשה שהרי הסכים השם על ידו, right? So at the
I would say different. I would say it's not a praise. It's not a good thing that happened in our history. But either way, it's a praise to him that that God agreed with his decision. Right.
Right. But this answer requires you to look further. שהרי סוף סוף שבירת הלוחות עצמה היא דבר בלתי רצוי והפך השבח לגמרי. Right? That okay, you're explaining at the end. He brings something that explains, but like, why did he have to talk about it to begin with? Right? ודוחק גדול לומר שכדי לרמז שהסכים השם על ידו יצרף הכתוב את העניין לשבירת הלוחות. Right? And it's a difficult thing to say that in order that the whole point that the Torah itself brings up the breaking of the luchot is in order to explain that God agreed with him.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Right. Meaning it's putting it in this place of praise at the very end of the Torah to show you that God actually agreed with it. Like this is the point where it's revealing that, and he's saying that's a very weak response.
And look, why? So le'inei kol Yisrael, to bring asher shibarta, right? At the very least, the pasuk itself should have been out on the haskama, not on the inyan, right?
That I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Okay, so if we're going to say that the Torah brings up this whole thing in order to explain that God agreed with Moses, right? Why would it first indicate that he broke it, and then that why doesn't the pasuk itself refer to the haskama as opposed to the shvira?
Okay.
You hear? Okay. יצרף הכתוב את העניין בשבירת הלוחות, עניין שמצד עצמו הוא בלתי רצוי בתכלית, עם כל המעלות הנפלאות של משה, right? When it's talking about all the great things and the wonders of Moses, נבואתו, האותות בארץ מצרים, קבלת הלוחות, right? It's talking about his prophecy that he spoke to God face to face, the miracles in Egypt, and then receiving the tablet. ומה גם בסיומם וחותמם, right? That at the very, very end, what it does is it suddenly talks about the Shriat Uloch. ובפרט, שתוכן שבח זה הסכים השם על ידו, right? That the actual point here that God agreed to what he said. מצינו אצל משה בעניין נעלה וטוב, הוסיף משה יום אחד מדעתו, right? There are other things in which something like that also happened. I think this is talking about Shavuot being 49 days plus 1. Do you remember what Hosif Moshe Yom Echad Midato refers to?
No, I don't. Is that referencing because there was a miscalculation on when he would come back from like?
I don't remember. Let me see what Note 11 says. Note 11. That's not saying. It doesn't have Note 11 here. Why doesn't it have Note
50 years ago, this was written.
Yeah.
Our book relates that some people hear God's word but distort it. It seems we agree that Moses is the most faithful to how he heard it.
Shabbat Daf Pei Zayin. אמר לך רבי יוסי יום אחד הוסיף משה מדעתו, דתניא שלושה דברים עשה משה מדעתו, והסכים הקדוש ברוך הוא עמו, הוסיף יום אחד מדעתו, ופרש, let me see what, let me find the, where is it? Here, let me find it. So this is in the Talmud 87a. The Gemara answers, Rabbi Yosef could have said to you, Moses added 1 day to the number of days that God commanded based on his own perception, as it is taught in the Paraita. Moses did 3 things based on his own perception. The Holy One, blessed be, agreed with him. He added 1 day to the days of separation before the revelation at Sinai based on his own perception. And he totally separated from his wife after the revelation at Sinai. And he broke the tablets following the sin of the golden calf. This is Shabbat 87a.
Okay.
Okay. So, נוסף לזה שמצינו כמה פעמים, we find in several places שעל ידי תפילתו של פעל משה שהקדוש ברוך הוא יבטל גזרה על ישראל כיוצא בו, right? And there are other places where God relents of the things that he was going to do because of Moses' prayer, so he could have talked about that. ומה טעם שהביא הכתוב את העניין להסכים הקדוש ברוך הוא דווקא בשבירת הלוחות? So why, if that's the whole point, why are you talking about שבירת הלוחות? You could have talked about something else. הקשור עם חטא העגל שעליו נאמר, וביום פקדי ופקדתי, right? This is, I mean, honestly, one of the worst things in Jewish history, right? Why does it need to bring up the Shvirat HaLuchot? You hear the question?
It's great. Yeah, for sure.
ועוד העיקר חסר מן הספר. בלשון הכתוב, לעיני כל ישראל, נרמז רק על דרך המעשה לשבירת הלוחות לעיניהם. ואין כאן שום רמז לשבחו של משה. הסכמת השם על ידו.
Right. I hear this even this is one of his better of the questions. Like, it's completely. This, I guess, actually lends to what he said about Rashi's not really doing a drasha. Like, Rashi is focused on the actual basic interpretation, because that Sifri is really a long shot, you know. Yeah. So, okay, I am curious though if there are other places where it says La'inei Kol Yisrael. I am very curious about that. Like, is La'inei Chem, is that the only? Like, I am curious if there are other references. But anyhow.
Okay. And we have some more questions. Rashi מדייק לומר לשבור את הלוחות לעיניהם שנאמר ושברם לעיניכם. Right? So why is Rashi specifically saying that he decided to break the luchot within their eyesight, right? So he seems to be going specifically on the eyesight, not on the that he did it not that God agreed, right? לפי שבזה הוא הרמז בלשון הכתוב לעיני כל ישראל. Rashi is going on לעיני כל ישראל, right? And the answer of the Pirushim on Rashi is that it's on the Haskama. Right.
I'm trying to think if I think of the pasuk like it almost should just say Asher Asa Moshe. First, like it's like 2 questions I see built in here. Number 1, what's the significance of Eleinei Kol Yisrael, and that fact that Rashi is going? Why is Rashi using those 3 words? But you could also ask further. It doesn't even need to say Eleinei Kol Yisrael. Like, if you're saying the whole thing is about God agreeing with Moshe? What does Eleinei Kol Yisrael have to do with anything?
Yeah. Aval hu gufa taima boy, but the actual thing is missing. Madua ba hakatuv laramez et ha'inyan l'shvirat haluchot davka be'ofen hashvira shahayta le'einei kol Yisrael. Right? That it's the verse itself is talking about the manner in which he did it. Le'einei kol Yisrael, in front of all of Israel. Shelachora eina ela inyan tzadi ובפרט שאינו עניין מיוחד לשירת הלוחות דווקא, שהרי כמה מהעניינים המנויים בכתובים כאן נעשו לעיני כל ישראל, כנ"ל מפרשים, right? Like this isn't the only thing that he did in front of the Jews, right? He did a lot of things.
Right.
Why specifically shirat haluchot?
Right.
Right? Mahu hadiuk sheni. Mahu hadiuk b'lashono shel Rashi, like you said, the question you asked. Why is Rashi saying nes'o libo lishvor haluchot? That his heart ascended.
Yeah.
Right? To break the luchot. The lechora havel lemer bekitzur sheshavar et haluchot. Should have said Rashi doesn't use extra words.
Right.
Why is he talking about his heart ascending? Al
Right.
kol panim havel Rashi linkot Allah beda'ato. Right? If he was talking about his haskama, that his scheme Hashem, right?
Right.
So why? So let's say he had to say what? Why not Allah b'da'ato? Why wasn't it? I thought it was nas'o libo, that his heart uplifted him.
Right. Right, because although Ladaito, if it says it came into his mind, then that would reflect the later part of Rashi. But to say Nasalibo is like an added detail of the storyline, which is very atypical of Rashi to do. Yeah. And he has no, what's his source for that? Also, who says Nasalibo? Who says?
And how is it raising his heart to break the luchot? Yeah. ומכל הנ"ל מוכרח לומר שלדעת רש"י יש בהפעולה דשבירת הלוחות עצמה עניין נעלה ביותר המורה על מעלתו ושבחו של משה רבנו. So from all of these questions, we're forced to say, no, Rashi believes that the very breaking of the luchot is possibly the greatest thing that Moshe Rabbeinu did.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
ובהמשך לשון רש"י והסכים הדעת הקדוש ברוך הוא לדעתו, אין כוונתו שזהו כל תוכן השבח. Not when he finishes off that God agreed with him, that's not the most important part.
Right.
אלא תוספת ראיה שבשבירת הלוחות יש שבח. Right? He's proving what he means to say. He's not changing what he's trying to say, like the Mefarshim say.
Right.
ומכיוון שזה נאמר לאחרי כל המעלות הנפלאות של משה רבנו מובן כנ"ל שלא זו בלבד שבשבירת הלוחות יש מעלה, אלא שמעלה זו עולה על המעלות שנמנו לפני זה. And since this is the last one, this is the chotam of the Torah, it has to be the greatest.
Right.
כולל קבלת הלוחות, שקיבל את התורה בלוחות בידם. That the breaking of the luchot was even greater than the receiving of the tablets.
I don't think you need to go that far, but I hear his point. I don't think you need to go that far, but his point is very strong regardless.
Yeah. Okay. ובזה מתורצת עוד תמיהה בעניין. And with this, you can answer a different question. ידוע הכלל שמסיימים בטוב, right? We know that we have a rule, we always end with good. כיצד ייתכן שסיום וחותם התורה כולה. סיומה גמרה של תורה יהיה על דרך שבירת הלוחות, עניין בלתי רצוי בתכלית.
Right.
How do we end the Torah with the שבירת הלוחות? ושאלה זו היא גם בנוגע ללשון רש"י עצמו. And this also goes on what Rashi himself says. שמסיים פירושו על התורה בתיבת ששיברת. That, okay, let's say the Torah did decide to end it like that. Why did Rashi end his commentary on the word sheshibarta?
Right. It's crazy. It really is crazy.
דלכאורה, אפילו אם ישנו הכרח לפרש שלעיני כל ישראל כוי על שבירת הלוחות, הווה לרש"י לסדר את דבריו באופן שסיומם לא יהיה בתיבת ששיברת. If he didn't think this was so great, he should have at least said something at the very end.
Right.
So that it wasn't the shvirad, which is the very last word.
Right.
Inyan bilti ratzui, something that's not a good thing. Ki im b'hatevot yashakochacha, or v'stima da'at HaKadosh Baruch Hu l'da'ato k'yotze. Right? He could have just ended yashakochacha.
I love that he's giving the options. He's kind of hysterical. He's such a character. I never read one of his pieces. It's hysterical. Like his point is clear, and then he's like, "No, let me even tell you what he could have done." Like it's really great.
Val Ken Sarch Ladat, I think. Kana.
Sarch Lomar, yeah.
Lomar, Kana. שבשבירת הלוחות עצמה יש עניין של מעלה ושבח גדול ביותר למשה. לכן מסיימת התורה לעיני כל ישראל, שנשאו ליבו לשבור את הלוחות, ולכן גם רש"י מסיים פירושו על התורה דווקא בתיבת ששיברת. You hear?
Yeah, it's crazy.
ויש לומר ביאור כל זה על פי מה שכתב רש"י לפני זה במקומו, בביאור הטעם לשבירת הלוחות. So we can explain all of this by going back to what Rashi said when Moses broke the luchot.
My mitzvah, Kisisa.
I didn't realize, but okay. Al hapasuk, pasol lecha shnei luchot avanim kerishonim. Rashi says on the verse, make for yourself 2 tablets like the first, stone tablets like the first ones. Gomen. Mefarish Rashi, pesol lecha, mashal lemelech shehalach lemedinat hayam, veheniach arusato im hashvachot. So he gives a analogy to a king who is engaged and he goes to a land far away across the seas and he leaves his fiancée with his maidservants. Mitoch kilkul hashvachot yatsa aleha shemra. And because of the maidservants being such bad people, rumors were started regarding his fiancée. Amad Shushbina v'kara ketuvata. So that her Shushbina, what do they call it? There's a word for somebody who watches over a young maiden.
No idea.
There's a word for it.
Wait, I have a.
When you go on a date, there's some and you bring somebody along to make sure nothing happens. There's a name. It starts with a C. It's like at the tip of my tongue. I can't remember it. Anyway, so Shushbin, but Karakatuba. So her guardian rips up the ketubah, right, of the Tanaim of getting engaged.
Yeah.
Amar in Yomar Hamelech lehorga, Omer lo adayin eina ishtecha. But if the king comes back and he decides to kill her, I'm going to say she was never actually married to you. Hamelech zeh hakadosh baruch hu hashpachot elu erev rav v'ashushvin zeh Moshe arusato shel hakadosh baruch hu elu Yisrael. And he explains this analogy by saying that God is the king, and the maidservants are the Erev Rav, are those people who came out of Egypt with Israel, and the guardian is Moses, and the bride of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, that's Israel. והיינו שכוונת משה בשבירת הלוחות הייתה כדי להגן על ישראל ולהצילם מעונש חול, כמו קריאת הכתובה על ידי השושבים. Right? So why did Moses break the luchot? Because he did not want Israel to be punished. Right? And that's why that's in the analogy that he gives. That's why the guardian rips up the ketubah.
Right.
Okay. Va'av shebemakomo mamash al hapasuk v'yishlach miyadav et haluchot v'yishaber. Right. When he's actually talking about the breaking of the luchot, right? He says, Mefarish Rashi, Amar ma Pesach shehu echad min hamitzvot amrat Torah kol ben nechar lo yachal bo, right? Just as it says in regarding Pesach that no foreigner should eat from it, HaTorah kula kan v'kol Yisrael mumrim ve'etnena lahem, right? This is the entire Torah, and Israel has strayed away. Should I give it to them? B'timiyah. Hayinu sheshvirat haluchot hayta mishum she'ein Yisrael re'uyim lekabel et haTorah. So the reason he broke it was because Israel wasn't ready to receive the Torah.
Right. He's saying that everyone became in the category of a ben nechar regarding the Torah, right?
Yeah.
That pasuk's talking about the Karban Pesach, but we're talking about now. Okay, understood.
הרי מזה שרש"י אינו מביא את שני העניינים בטור שני פירושים, מובן של שיטת רש"י תרבהו יתנהו בה. Right? Since he doesn't bring them as if they're two separate things, when he's explaining them, we see that each one is explaining the other, right? That they are both parts of understanding Pshat together. Shtei kavanot hayu laMoshe b'shvirat haluchot. That Moses had two thoughts when he broke the tablets. Echad mivnei kavod haTorah shelo ratza liten otam lemumrim, right? So one was the greatness of the Torah, that he shouldn't give it to people who have strayed in this way. Sheni b'shvil haganat Yisrael, and the second one is to protect Israel. V'yesh lomar shahatam harishon, right? The first one, kol Israel mumarim ve'etnena lahem, and I will give that to that. Ba be'ikar leva'er ha'eder netinat haluchot le'Israel, right? That's explaining why he doesn't what the greatness of giving the luchot to Israel would be. Aval eino tam maspik l'shvirat haluchot, right? So he could have not given it to Israel, but he decided to break it. Shezehu hefech kavod haTorah, right?
Right.
He could have not given the tablets to Israel,
Right.
but he broke it. ואילו לטעם השני מוסבר היטב מה שהביאו לשבור את הלוחות. And that's why it makes sense, according to the second one, that you should actually break the luchot. בדוגמת קריאת הכתובה על ידי השושבין, right, which is like the tearing up of the ketuvah by the guardian. ומזה מובן לענייננו. And from this we can understand what we're talking about with all the questions with Rashi.
Right.
שבחו מעלתו של משה בשבירת הלוחות. We're talking about the greatness of Moses, not merely in not giving the tablets to Israel, but in breaking the luchot. שתוכן השבח שעליו מתכוון רש"י כאן, right? That the specific praise of Moses that Rashi is talking about, מודגש בעיקר בהטעם ששבירת הלוחות היא בשביל הצלת ישראל, right? That it is the praise of Moses specifically in the fact that he broke the luchot in order to save Israel.
Right.
דוגמת קריאת הכתובה על ידי השושבין להציל את ארוסתו של המלך, he explained, right? שבגלל זה נאמר לו פסול לך, right? It says, make for yourself אשר שיברת, ישר כוחך ששיברת, right? That God agreed, right? In that he was like, no, it was a good thing that you broke it because you were trying to save Israel.
Right.
פי זה יש לבאר במה היא מעלת שבחו של משה בשבירת הלוחות יותר משאר מעלותיו. Why is this the greatest of the praises of Moses? מובן בפשטות, פשוטו של מקרא. The simple meaning of the Mikra is, of the Torah is, גודל ויוקר ארכם של הלוחות, ובפרט בעיני משה רבנו, right? How great and precious are these tablets in Moses' eyes. שהרי הלוחות מעשה אלוקים המה נכתב אלוקים, right? That these were tablets made by God and written upon by God in godly words. והוא זכה לקבלם מידי הקדוש ברוך הוא בכבודו ובעצמו, right? And he was able to receive them from God himself, נוסף על החביבות שלו לדברי תורה בכלל, even more so than just the love of the Torah, but that this was, the tablets were given to Moses by הקדוש ברוך הוא. ואף על פי כן, כאשר ראה משה רבנו הרואה הנאמן והאוהב ישראל, that when Moses, our teacher, who is the shepherd, the faithful shepherd, and who loves Israel, שיש מקום לחשש שמציאות של הלוחות, שהם בדוגמה לכתובה, right? That he saw the danger of there even being the tablets, like a ketubah, יכולה לפגוע בישראל חס ושלום, that it could harm Israel, God forbid. לא היסס כלל וכלל לרגע, ואף לא שאל את הקדוש ברוך הוא, that he didn't stop even 1 second, and he didn't even ask God, ותקף ומיד שבר את הלוחות כדי להצילם מעונש.
Wow.
This is the greatness of Moses.
Wow.
That he was Ro'eh Ne'eman, that he was our shepherd, and his whole, everything about him was to protect Israel. ולא עוד, אלא ששבירת הלוחות הייתה כדי להציל רק חלק הכי קטן שהיו במצב ירוד ביותר. And that he was going after the lost sheep. He was going for the people who had fallen the most. שנכשלו בחטא העגל. The people fallen into the sin of the golden calf, כדי להגן עליהם לא היסס משה רבנו לשבור את הלוחות והראשונות.
Wow.
Yeah?
Wow. It's very powerful.
וזוהי מעלתו הנפלאה של משה רבנו. And this is the greatness of Moses. מנהיג ישראל. He was a leader of Israel. רועה נאמן של ישראל. He was a faithful shepherd of Israel. לא זו בלבד שהפקיר את כל מציאותו כדי להגן על כל ישראל. That he gave up everything. The luchot which he had gotten from God himself, he threw on the ground and broke. Because what is most important to Moses was protecting Israel. וכמו שכתוב, ואם אין מחני נס מספרך. Like it says in the other place where God says, let me destroy them. He says, if you aren't going to forgive them, then also erase me from your book. Mikol haTorah kula, from the entirety of the Torah. Ela od zot, sheshavar et halochot shekiber miyad HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'kvodo v'atzmo, כדי להגן על אלה שנכשלו בחטא העגל. That it wasn't just the best of Israel, but the worst of Israel. The people who had fallen into idolatry. ולכן, לאחרי שהתורה מונה כמה וכמה מעלות גדולות ונפלאות של משה רבנו. That after the Torah talks about all of the great things that Moshe had done, מסיימת התורה במעלה הגדולה ביותר. It ends with that which is the greatest. לעיני כל ישראל. In front of the eyes of Israel. שנשא ליבו לשבור הלוחות. That his heart was uplifted to break the לוחות. מעלה גדולה יותר מקבלת יותר מקבלת הלוחות. Which is even greater than receiving the luchot is breaking the luchot. Hayat hachazaka, שכן רק בשבירת הלוחות בא לידי ביטוי גודל מסירת נפשו של משה רבנו עבור ישראל. Because it is only by breaking the luchot that he was in fact giving up of himself in order to save Israel. שבשביל להגן עליהם שבר את הלוחות. That he broke that. ובזה מתורץ גם דיוק לשון רש"י, דלעיל, שנשאה ליבו לשבור הלוחות. That his heart was what brought him up to break it. לשון זה נשיאת הלב מורה על תנועה של נדיבות לעניין טוב. This talks about your heart bringing you to doing something good, like giving of yourself. על דרך לשון גבי נדיבת המשכן, כל איש אשר נשא ליבו. Because it says in the Torah, when people are going to donate to the Mishkan, each man according to how his heart moves him. ועוד כלומר, ששבירת הלוחות הייתה תוצאה מגודל הרגש של אהבת ישראל בליבו של משה. That this wasn't an intellectual thing. It was an emotional thing. That he had such love for Israel. עד כדי למסור נפשו בשביל הגנת ישראל. So that he broke the luchot in order to protect Israel. ולכן נקט רש"י שנשאה ליבו ולא עלה בדעתו. He talks about how it's in his heart, not in his mind. כי רגש אהבת ליבו לישראל הוא שהביאו לשבור את הלוחות. There was an affectionate thing that brought him to do it. ויש להוסיף, and we can add more. על דרך הרמז על כל פנים, that there's a hint here, שבלשון נשוא ליבו לשבור הלוחות, מרמז רש"י שכדי לשבור הלוחות הוזקק משה לעניין של הרמה והגבהה. Right? That in order for Moses to break the luchot, it was a matter of being raised up. Nas'o beregesh shebelev, through emotions in his heart. Sharei kavod haTorah shelo v'yirata hayu gedolim me'od, that he greatly had respect for the Torah and he and awe of it. ולכן כדי לשבור הלוחות היה צריך לנשא את האהבה שבלב עוד יותר. There had to be an awakening of love above this. והיינו לעורר בליבו אהבת ישראל גדולה כל כך, that he had to awaken in his heart a love of Israel so much עד כדי שתכריע את יראת the kavod haTorah shelo, that it would overcome his awe and respect for the Torah. Shבור et haluchot kedei lahatzil et Yisrael, right? To break the luchot in order to save Israel. ויש לומר שזהו גם הטעם על דרך שכתוב מרמז את העניין בשבירת הלוחות והתיבות לעיני כל ישראל, and that's why it says to the eyes of Israel. זה שמשה שבר את הלוחות לעיני כל ישראל, in front of them, like it says, והשברם לעיניכם, I will break them before your eyes. הוא אחד שבחו של משה, what is that thing?
No idea.
Mesirat nafsho, that it was self-sacrifice. Avur Israel gavra afilu al hefech kavod haTorah, that he was that it's
right. To break luchos in front of the Jewish people is the greatest desecration possible, right?
Right, but he was doing it, yeah.
That's what makes it so incredible.
ולהוסיף על דרך הרמז שני, כדי לנטוע בליבם של כל ישראל, עד סוף כל הדורות העניין של אהבת ישראל בתכלית השלמות. That even in doing this, he did it in front of Israel in order to plant within their hearts the importance of loving your fellow Jew. That even in this, he was showing Israel how to act towards each other. נמצא שבתיבות לעיני כל ישראל נרמז שבחו של משה בשבירת הלוחות גודל אהבת ישראל שלו. So we see that the breaking of the luchot is in fact the highest praise of Moses, in that he broke it for his love of Israel. But we still need to explain. Al pasuk haklal, the hakol holech achar hachatum, mistaber lomar shesiyum v'chotem haTorah, gamra shel Torah, tzarich liyot be'inyan hamivteh et shlemut ma'alat haTorah. But yeah, the last part of the Torah should go on the greatness of the Torah, not just of Moses. V'tamua al pi hanal hayotze shesiyum haTorah hu b'dvar tov, that it was actually a good thing. שבחו של משה בעניין גודל אהבת ומסירת נפשו עבור Israel. Then it talks about how he was willing to forgo everything in order to protect Israel. וגם יש בו משום גודל מעלתם של ישראל. Right? And then it talks about the importance of Israel. שגם כשהם במצב ירוד ביותר, that even that they're in the worst of states, הנה כדי להגן עליהם, להצילם מעונש, חולו, kedai afilu l'shvor luchot.
Right.
That's a good thing to even break the luchot in order to protect them. Mikol makom benoga leTorah atzma, harei zeh hefach hashevach, sheken l'shirat haluchot, harei zeh bitula shel Torah.
Right.
Right? It's going against the Torah. V'yesh lomar habiur bezeh, and we can explain this. Ita betana delbei Eliyahu Rabbah. It explains in Tana Devei Eliyahu Rabbah, which is a Kabbalistic midrash. Shnei devarim yesh ba'olam, Torah ve'Yisrael. There are two things in the world, Torah and Israel. Aval eini yodea eize mehen kodem. I don't know which one is more important. Amarti lo beni darchan shel bnei Yisrael omrim haTorah kadma. The way of the children of Israel is to say that the Torah comes first. Aval ani omer Israel kadmu. But I say, and this is Eliyahu says, no, Israel comes first. L'chora eino muvan. We can't. This is a difficult thing to understand. Mahu hasafek eiza mehen kodem. What's it talking about? Which one comes first? Right? That he has to come out from his. He says, I think that Israel comes first. Hare kol inyan haTorah lo yitachen bili Israel shelahem namru tzivui haTorah. That without Israel you don't have the commandments of the Torah. Like it says further there. It's not even obvious what was he thinking. And they are the ones who are able to keep the commandments. So it's obvious that Israel comes first. Like it says in the Midrash, that God first thought of Israel, ilulei Israel atidin lekabel et haTorah lo haya kotev beTorah tzav et bnei Israel daber el bnei Israel. Right? That it couldn't be that before God wrote the Torah, he first had to think of the people he was going to say. It says, command the children of Israel and speak to the children of Israel. Eila habiur bezeh
Mashkasev?
Possibly.
Something like that.
Bnei Israel, daber el bnei Israel, nilmedet rak kadima bezman. That this is only a chronological thing. Ava benoga lekadima b'ma'ala efshar lomar sheha'ikar hi haTorah. That maybe when we're talking about which is of a higher degree,
right?
More important is
the importance in hierarchy, not in terms of what came first.
Yeah. שהתורה קדמה במעלה וחשיבות לישראל, that it's more important. ומעלתם של ישראל היא שרק הם בכוחם יכולתם לקיים את ציוויי התורה. And the greatness of Israel is that they are the ones who can keep the Torah. זהו החידוש דאני אומר, and this is what Elijah means when he says, I say, right? שקדימה זו היא בעיקר קדימה למעלה, B'mala ma'alatam shel Yisrael. He's saying no. They're even more important. Israel kadm. Ve'ulai yesh lomar yetera mizeh. HaTorah nitna kedei legalot ma'alatam shel Yisrael. That the entire reason to give the Torah was to show the greatness of Israel. V'zehu gam tochen hachiluk bein shnei hata'amim l'shirat haluchot shebepirush Rashi. And similarly, we had the two ways in which Rashi explained why break the luchot. Etam harishon kol Israel mumarim betinen elahem. Right? That all of Israel has strayed, and I'm going to give this to them. Mudgash ma'alat Torah al Israel. Right? So he's first. So one is explaining the greatness of Torah. שמעלת ישראל היא בזה שהם מקיימים וממלאים ציוויי התורה, that their greatness is in that they keep the Torah, ולכן בהיותם אומרים, אין לתת להם את התורה. So if they're not going to keep it, you don't give it to them. ואילו בטעם השני, מודגשת מעלתם של ישראל על התורה. Right? But the second reason, if it's for protecting them, so we're tearing up the ketubah, עד כדי כך ששוברים את הלוחות כדי להציל את ישראל, וישראל קדמו לתורה והתורה היא בשביל ישראל. Right? That the whole reason of the Torah is for Israel. ובזה יובן הקשר לעיני כל ישראל שבירת הלוחות עם גמרא של תורה.
Right.
So with this, we can understand why Le'inei Kol Yisrael is the ending of the Torah. בגמרא של תורה, סיומה וחותמה של כל התורה כולה, מקום שיבוא התוכן וכל התורה כולה. Right? At the very end of the entire Torah, it talks about what? It talks about Israel. ועניין זה מודגש בהתאבות. The words themselves talk about in the eyes of Israel. Right? Then Moses did this before them. יודעים שלמותה ותכליתה של התורה היא צו את בני ישראל, דבר על בני ישראל. We see that the whole point of the Torah is that command Israel, speak to Israel, Israel kadmu, that Israel is the point. That's why his heart was ascended to break it. Right? This was the Torah. The Rebbe gave this at Simchat Torah. Sha'az korin le'einei kol Yisrael, that in Simchat Torah, that's when we read it. V'osim bo seudat simcha legamarat shel Torah, that we feast and yeah. Did you say something?
What did you say?
Oh, I was. Your mic was loud. I thought you were trying to say something. בשמחת תורה, יום טוב שני של שמיני עצרת, מודגש ומתגלה מעלתם של ישראל, פר אחד, איל אחד, right? That it's only one, the rest of Sukkot, it's for all the nations, but on Simchat Torah, it's one particularly שקוראים as בתורה למפטיר כנגד ישראל, פר יחידי כנגד אומר יחידה, יחידה משל משל למלך אמר לו בוא עשה לי סעודה קטנה כדי שאהנה ממך, right? So specifically that by Simchat Torah, it's specifically just for Israel, unlike the rest of Sukkot. היינו שהעניין בשמחת תורה הוא יהיו לך לבדך ואין לזרים איתך, right? That it's only for Israel. ובלשון הזוהר לא ישתכח במלכה אלא ישראל בלכודוהי, right? That only Israel will be with a God. ולא עוד אלא שהדגשת וגילוי מעלתם של ישראל בשמחת תורה היא גם לגבי התורה, right? That the greatness of Israel is through the Torah itself. בשמחת Torah שני פירושים, that we talk about the Simchat Torah, the joy of the Torah. Simchat Israel beTorah, that Israel, what should we call it? Enjoys the Torah, that has delight from it. Smechin legamara shel Torah. Hayinu shal yedei haTorah na'asit simcha beIsrael, that the Torah creates a joy within Israel. Sheni simchata shel haTorah al yedei ze sheIsrael mesamchem et haTorah ועד כדי כך שישראל הם החתן והתורה היא הקלה, היינו שישראל הם המשפיעים לגבי התורה, right? That so the second thing is that Israel causes the Torah to delight, that they are like a groom to the bride, which is the Torah. ועניין זה שבכוחן של ישראל לשמח את התורה הוא מפני מעלתן של ישראל שקדמו לתורה, ישראל קדמו, right? And the whole reason that is possible is because they have a greater capacity. ומכיוון שבשמחת התורה מתגלית בעלתן של ישראל שקדמו לתורה, לכן קוראים בגמרא של Torah לעיני כל ישראל. And because of all of this that we said, that's why we end with לעיני כל ישראל. שירת הלוחות כדי להגן על ישראל. שזה מתבטאת שלמותה ותכליתה של תורה, צו את בני ישראל, דבר אל בני ישראל. That the whole point of the Torah itself is that it should be a commandment and spoken to Israel.
Wow. Well, that was something.
Isn't it?
Really?
Did it answer all your questions?
It does answer all my questions. Yeah, it really is amazing. I mean, when you consider that, you know, it's very easy to just read the storyline and say, okay, and he smashed the luchos. But this was like literally that. If it didn't happen, no one would ever be able to write a story like that, right? Only because it happened and we're used to it that we think it's a normal story, but it's absolutely bonkers.
What kills me is that after you read it, like it becomes like obvious to you. Well, that's obviously what Rashi meant, right?
I wouldn't go that far, but it is very powerful what he's saying, and I do think.
But he brings from Rashi. He like all the places he's bringing from Rashi.
I agree, and also it's also just more. Oh, you're right, because I keep thinking. You're right. I keep thinking the pasuk is what alludes to the Shiras Luchos, but it's just Rashi. You're right. It does answer all the questions.
And by bringing in the Rashi from the other places.
Right. Yeah. It is really amazing. It's a very stirring piece. It really is. It really is beautiful. Yeah. Are all the Sichas this good, or is it just this one? I
have to say what part of the amazing part of the Rashi Sichas is Histakal by right somewhere. Oh my god. The amazing thing about the Rashi Sichas is all of them have a tochen like this, right? That it ends up like talking about something that you can apply to your life, right? Mm-hmm. The Rebbe didn't just stam give drashas, right? The drasha about the importance of Torah and like so, like there's like some 300 Rashi Sichas, and all of them have an inyan of Havat Yisrael, like important stuff, which makes me think like how many questions and answers did the Rebbe have on Rashi that he just took the ones that had a token to them and spoke about those.
Yeah, it is a really crazy Rashi. It's like kind of hitting me now how crazy it just really is crazy. The fact that he says this.
The Rebbe does this over and over with Rashi. If you want to learn another one on Yaakov marrying two sisters, like
you have to learn one that you haven't learned before. We have to do a new one.
Maybe.
I want to do a fresh one.
A fresh one, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Now I'm ready for Midwestuary. Now I'm ready to go.
Yeah, now you're ready for Midwestuary? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Where they're going to tell you, see, Moses was a type of Jesus.
Oh my God. We're going to have to do like maybe our next one. Let's do a Midwestuary post-game show.
Okay. Well, I can tell you about the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be perfect.
Yeah, there's apparently several people from Midwest Jury coming to the wedding.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Luke at least is. Of
Oh,
course.
that's fun.
What?
I didn't know. That's so cool that so you'll see Luke. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay, I kept you longer than I knew you wanted. You only had an hour, but like, yeah.
This is worth it. It was a beautiful piece. Thank you. Thank you for indulging me. It's beautiful.
I love Rashi Sichas. Okay, end the stream.
Sure.